Trump and the $500 billion Stargate AI project. GovTech is in big trouble. OpenAI launches an AI that can do everything on its own, but Deepseek R1 is here to eat everybody's lunch. Welcome to Ask About Tech. This is the show where I break down everything that's going on in the tech industry and how it affects you. I'm your host, Juwan, and today we're going to be talking about some of the biggest stories in tech over the past week. At the White House last week, Trump announced a $500 billion Stargate project, which is a data center that's supposed to power the future of AI. Now, anybody who knows anything about AI knows that AI is all about compute, GPUs, and all of that data memory stuff. And that's one of the reasons why the cost of running an AI model is very high, because you have to store it in some place and you have to run the computer operations that's giving you and spitting you out those numbers. And it's very expensive. And because the US is trying to position itself as a leader in AI across the globe, they're investing heavily in this space. Here was Trump announcing the $500 billion investment from the partners. Check it out.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did.
The GPU storage space has been something that has been hugely competitive, with the US mostly manufacturing this in Taiwan up until very recently. But with all the drama going on with China, TikTok, Huawei, and all the whole nine, TikTok has been moving more of that here to the US and places like Arizona, Texas, trying to build up those huge data centers that will power the future of AI. And this project is the biggest step in that process. And this is huge because in this picture right here on the screen, you see Trump himself, you see the chairman of Oracle, you see the CEO of SoftBank, and Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the founders of ChatGPT. So this was major news, and Microsoft was also committed to, beyond these big three companies, you had other companies in the play as well. And this was a big deal, right? It started off as a $100 billion project, and now they're expanding it to a $500 billion project. I mean, there was some mild drama on Twitter regarding this announcement. Elon Musk hit them with this. They don't actually have the money. And then he also followed up with SoftBank has well under $10 billion secure. I have that on good authority. And Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, clapped back at him saying, wrong as you surely know. Want to come visit the first site already underway? This is great for the country. I realize what is great for the country isn't always optimal for your companies, but in your new role, I hope you'll mostly put America first. Ouch. And speaking about all of the money problems, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, also weighed in on this whole controversy.
I'm not particularly in the details of what they're investing.
Okay. And so, but when you look at that $100 billion commitment, $500 billion potential, I don't know if you saw Elon Musk took to Twitter and said, they don't have the money. The money doesn't exist, as if this is not really going to happen. What do you think of that?
Look, all I know is I'm good for my $80 billion. I am going to spend $80 billion building out Azure. Customers can count on Microsoft, with OpenAI models being there everywhere in the world, serving OpenAI models and other models.
And for those who don't know, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and Elon Musk have had this drama going on for so long. They actually used to be buddies. He was an investor in OpenAI, but his gripe was they made OpenAI for profit instead of a nonprofit that it started out as, and that's something he doesn't like. Well, some of the critics have said the reason why he's really mad is because this is now a competitor to his Grok AI. But again, don't know so much about the details, so I'm not going to get into it. But what I can say is these two don't really like each other, so you can clearly tell where Elon Musk is coming from. And even Trump himself said as much. It's like, well, they don't get along, so you can see where that problem is. But ultimately, I think the investment is going to go on. But I think this is huge, huge news. And if you're looking to get into tech, this project, they're going to be hiring like chip designers, engineers, people who work in data centers. So if you're hiring a career in tech, I don't think this, GPU arms race is going anywhere anytime soon. So that's definitely an area you want to look into if that's something that you're passionate about. Throughout the uncertain times in the tech industry, there's one space that has been very resilient, and that is GovTech. It is because most for-profit companies scaled back hiring even when they were making record profits to drive even higher margins. The government doesn't exist to make profit, so they can always hire more and more people every single year, and it's a very resilient industry when it comes to jobs. Well, this guy came in and is changing all of that. So the first thing he did was sign an executive order that froze all new hiring. And that means no new jobs. It actually goes farther than that. There were actually people who had their offers rescinded, people who already had jobs but hadn't started, had their offers rescinded as a part of this executive order. And here's somebody who was impacted by that freeze. So the email read, "Dear person, as directed by President Trump on January 20, 2025, via the blase blase, we regret to inform you this recruitment is canceled. If an exemption is approved for this recruitment, you may be notified. Otherwise, any future opportunities will be advertised by VA careers." And this is an actual, the sad part of this kind of policies is that it impacts people negatively in this way. Whoever this is, I hope they find their next opportunity and they don't have to deal with this for much longer. As if this hiring freeze and offers getting rejected wasn't bad enough, here's one other thing that Trump is also doing in that space.
Well, it happens. What a way to end the week. 5 o'clock on a Friday, got our notice, effective March 10th. We're back in the office 5 days a week. No telework. And that's the most fucked up thing, is not only did you issue this executive order, Cheeto, but the executive order trumps, unintended, and rescinds any previously agreed upon telework agreements. So before, I was able to telework once a week when I was in the office every day. Now, no mores. I'm so upset.
The bigger problem with all of this is that we all know whenever you have RTO mandates, that usually means you're going to have attrition. It's one of the ways that companies force people to force quit, to rage quit, right? Because people build their lives around that flexibility, they get used to that routine. And once you kind of like forcefully bring them back to work, it's just some people who are not going to return. But I don't even think that that's everything, right? Because one of the things that Trump ran on and won on is this whole idea of government efficiency. That's why Elon Musk is leading up that effort, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is what they're saying. They're trying to do a lot more with a lot less, meaning that they're going to be looking for ways to cut even more people from the workforce. I would imagine even out non-tech workers, but I can also see that spilling over and affecting people in tech. So that sector is going through a lot right now. And, as they say, when it rains, it pours. But shout out to Kanika Tova and Simone Bies. They've been big advocate of the GovTech space. and they've been sharing other opportunities. Go check them out on Twitter. GovTech, as they say, is not just limited to the federal government, the state and local governments. The beauty of it is also like, if you're learning skills like cybersecurity, DevOps, ServiceNow, and all of that, those also get leveraged by, government contractors and like the private sector and other industries. So if you've been focused on that space, now is probably the time to start looking at other opportunities, because I think there's going to be chaos in that space for some time to come. On the show last week, we talked about agentic AI, which is the successor to generative AI. But here's a quick refresher if you're new to the world of AI in general. AI is nothing new, right? This is computer doing some tasks that, replicates what humans would do, essentially artificial intelligence. But we've had it for the longest time. If you think about video games, those are programmatic AIs. They've programmed it to do certain things, right? Then we had generative AI. AI that doesn't need to be told a specific set of rules and can do things on its own. Now we have agentic AI, right? For generative AI, the key thing was that you had to prompt it and it was limited in its ability. Agentic AI takes it that one step further. And OpenAI announced their version of agentic AI called Operator. Now, Operator in this format that OpenAI created can do things like navigate websites, click, scroll, type, and complete tasks like ordering groceries, filing expense reports, mimicking human interactions online, etc. And to show you what exactly OpenAI's Operator can do, here's a really quick video that I think really goes into the essence of this new technology. Check it out.
OpenAI just launched its very first AI agent. It's called Operator and it can use the computer the way you do. Here is everything you need to know, the good and the bad. So, Operator uses a cloud browser to complete tasks for you. It can book tables, buy tickets, order food, or even shop for groceries. In the demo, they uploaded a handwritten grocery list. Operator understood it and it started finding and adding groceries to the cart. Operator is based on a new model called Computer Using Agent, which is built off GPT-4o and it's trained to use the computer in the way humans do, by looking at the screen and using the mouse and the keyboard to control it. OpenAI added strict safety measures to what this agent can do. It won't perform harmful tasks, certain websites are blocked, and it always asks for your confirmation before making an important decision. And you can take over at any time to make edits and adjustments if needed.
So that's a quick view into what that looks like. And to even make this operation better, OpenAI is going to be partnering with companies like Instacart, Uber, eBay, to enhance Operator's capabilities, potentially streamlining its action on those specific websites to make it more accurate and seamless. Currently, Operator is only going to be available in the US to ChatGPT Pro subscribers. That's a $200 a month subscription. And what they're calling the research preview before they start rolling it out to larger user groups. Agentic AI is very scary, right? It's going to take over any and everything. You saw Zuckerberg talking about it last week about it replacing engineers. And once they start to function and get better, as we've seen these AI products get better over time, it's going to start to eliminate some jobs. And this is actually very scary. Tech founder and investor Chris Sacca actually had this view.
I think other than most computer science, the highest level of computer science, almost all of the rest of coding is fucking useless. You and I can go to ChatGPT and be like, I want to build an app that does this, this, and this, and give me the code, and it spits out the code. And then I've literally said, hey, by the way, I haven't coded since basic. What do I do with this? And it's like, oh, no problem. Go here, download this, open this Python thing, and then shove it in here and then do this. And it just talks you through it. And now it'll be agentic, and an agent's going to do all that for you. You just don't need to fucking do it anymore. Would you send your kid to law school right now?
No, definitely not.
We have fewer lawyers at our firm now than we did a year ago. It's just fucking great. I can tell it, hey, you know what? Great job. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Hey, you know what? I forgot to tell you, we have all the leverage. Oh, in this case, actually do this. Hey, add this. Hey, write out the Exhibit A schedule of services, which usually takes a couple hours. It's just so fucking good. Would you teach your kid accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, bookkeeping right now? Would you have your kids write marketing copy? Would you train them to write any news other than writing for the very top newspapers?
No, probably not.
Dude, go down the list of fucking skills, man.
So what's left?
Here's my grand theory. We are super fucked.
That was a very interesting take. While I do agree with majority of the things that he said on the video, I think there were a few things that, he missed out on. One, somebody is still building those prompts and making it do all those things. And I would imagine that if this was documentation, like for example, legal documents, after the AI writes it, it's not going to proofread it itself. Like somebody still has to do it. You still want to give somebody some of that agency to ensure that even the AI is spitting out good work. I do think overall it's going to eliminate a lot of roles because it's going to empower people to be able to do a lot more with a lot less. But I don't quite believe in the gloom and doom as many people are speaking out right now. I think even as AI starts to grow, you will start to see more and more opportunity in that space specifically, right? Like AI specialists, developers, trainers, ethicists, right? The same way like cybersecurity has been a big thing because the web has grown so much and we're doing so much online. I think AI ethics, security, development, process management, all of those things are things that we're going to see, as this thing start to evolve. Again, I don't have all the answers, but this is my gut feel. So what are your thoughts on AI? Do you think like all our jobs are going extinct? I don't think so, but if you think so or you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. One of the things that I thought we were done with in 2024 was layoffs, but apparently not. Meta started 2025 and they chose violence, right? They decided that they wanted to lay off a bunch of people and they called it low performers, which has gotten a lot of flack from a lot of people, right? Because, now former Meta employees in the job market looking for jobs are going to be carrying a stigma where potential employers might be looking at them as low performers. Ultimately, I think ever since like COVID, overhiring, and then the layoffs that started, I think companies have been pushing more and more for efficiency. And I think, this layoffs, I was really hoping that this was going to be something that was just time bound or time based. It's actually feeling more and more like it's starting to be, part and parcel of the tech industry, right? And that's a really scary prospect, right? There have been certain big tech companies that have always done what they call growth through attrition, where they always target like the bottom performers, fire them and then bring new fresh people and they do this rinse and repeat style. But that has not been kind of like the mode of how tech has worked in general. But this new move from Meta is pointing in that direction. And it's scary because they're not the only ones doing it. I think there's another tech company, I'm not sure if it's Microsoft. I don't think it's Microsoft, but there's another tech company that's saying they're going to be looking to do the same exact thing. I hope this doesn't become a trend. And I think if you're a job seeker looking for a new job in this current landscape, my heart goes out to you. I think you need to be very resilient in this market. Networking is going to play a big role and continue to look for those areas of growth, right? With new AI, with all this AI development, you're seeing like new areas of learning, new areas of opportunity. And I think, that could be a potential for a career switch moving into a new area of focus. So hang in there. And I hope that this turns around for everybody's sake. Here's the biggest news of the day and potentially the biggest news of this week. Ever since the frenzy that followed the launch of ChatGPT, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in the AI space. So this Chinese AI startup that builds models to predict stocks and things like that for their financial tech company, they built this so-called side project called Deepseek R1 that's taken the whole industry by storm. The reason why it's so impressive is because they claim that they trained this model with significantly less than ChatGPT spent in their development, and it's almost just as good. Well, just how good it is, I hope this chart will show you. As you can see in this chart, these are different versions of the different models. And you can see this is the IS models for both OpenAI and Deepseek. And you can see how close they are in performance. The interesting thing is DeepSeek's model is actually better in math than ChatGPT's model. And I think that is what is the most scary of all the different things that you're seeing. So you see how they're all performing in different tasks from like, coding, math, and all these different things that these models are able to do. And the fact that nobody knew about this, if this wasn't something that was building up, it just came at once. Also in terms of what it costs the end user, it's costing, cents on the dollar compared to what ChatGPT costs. And you see a lot of people reacting and saying, you know what, I'm dumping ChatGPT and I'm going over to OpenAI. This has been the big, and saying, I'm dumping ChatGPT and I'm moving over to DeepSeek. This has been a huge news every single place. And just how cheap is DeepSeek's model? Well, from the rumors that are circling around, they're saying this old model runs on like ragtag GPUs that are very cheap to put together, and also is taking them less than $10 million to build this model. In context, ChatGPT alone has cost OpenAI billions of dollars at this point. Like, it's not even comparable. And this has led to a lot of panic in the markets. Another interesting thing also is that DeepSeek's model is open source under the MIT license framework. So all of this is actually what makes it an even more enticing prospect. And the markets are reacting crazily. Check this out.
Technology shares on Wall Street have fallen sharply in response to the emergence of a low-cost chatbot built by a Chinese artificial intelligence firm. The chatbot, launched by the Chinese firm Deepseek, which itself has said that within the last hour or so it's been hit by a large-scale malicious cyber attack, has become the most downloaded free app in the United States since it was launched earlier this month. Let's speak to our North America business correspondent, Michelle Fleury. So the new kid on the block has stolen a march on its rivals, Michelle.
Look, I think this is a company that has sent shockwaves through Silicon Valley and through Wall Street right now. What has happened is that essentially a made-in-China AI model developed by this company, Deepseek, has shown that it can create something that is similar in terms of proficiency as its rivals, American rivals like OpenAI's ChatGPT, but it was done using inferior chips, so chips with less power, and it uses less data. And it is those facts that really have created this kind of shockwave through financial markets, in part because companies like NVIDIA, which makes AI chips, they have seen their share prices over the last year or so rise and rise, pushing it into $1 trillion company on the basis of the fact that because we expect AI to grow so much, there's going to be this huge demand for chips. Now you've got Wall Street reconsidering that, and you've got Silicon Valley also nervous that perhaps America won't be the dominant player in AI in the sort of race to kind of dominate this technology.
And as you heard in that video, this has had significant ramifications in the markets. NASDAQ is down by more than $1 trillion just today alone. And NVIDIA's market cap dropped by more than $200 billion just on the back of this news. So this is probably the craziest 24 hours in this whole AI, GPU, storage conversation. And I think this drama is only going to continue. My take on a lot of this news is that I don't necessarily agree with everything that's been said. For example, I don't think it costs less than $10 million to build this model. If I'm being completely real, I think China has a history of, let's just say, embellishing what is true and what's not. I do think that the technology is impressive, but I don't think the story that has been sold along with it is really that good. And I think as the dust settles, I think you will see a situation where things probably start to go back to normal and this frenzy can last away. But I don't think that this is the last drama that we're going to see in this AI race. I think it's going to continue. I think China has definitely made a big statement about being a formidable force in this whole AI conversation. ultimately bringing back down to us techies, everyday techies. I think whether you're a software engineer, product manager, whatever else, all of this is a big signal as to where you want to focus the next 3 to 5 to 10 years of a career. AI is going to be big. AI is going to define the future. And I hope that you're shaping and preparing to be a big part of that future. That has been the show for today. Thank you for rocking with me. And I'll see you with another episode of Ask About Tech soon. And if you enjoy this, you can also check out my other video series called Working in Tech, where I talk to tech professionals about how they got into tech. One of the most inspiring stories I've had is the story of Christopher Levenstein, who used to work at Target, taught himself how to be a network engineer, and is now making 6 figures in tech. You can check out that video here, as well as other amazing stories of people who have broken into tech. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.